All right. So I'm working on Bindlestiff Family Circus theme song today. I've already been working on it. I'm kind of getting into a point where I just actually really would like to kind of round it up. I think if I go on too much longer with it, it won't be getting better. But it needs more structure. It needs an ending and stuff. And it needs some live musicians on it. Right now, it's currently in a state where it's all in the computer. And, well, we could just listen to it if you want to hear where it's at. So, as you can see, it's, well, obviously a work in progress. So, kind of doing some cleanup today, like listening to the drums and trying to bring them up to a level that is a little more human. One of the things I often do is start with like kind of a rough version of the drums so that I have something to work on, something to build the other stuff on. But I really have to go back and rework them at some point to give them a little personality. And I've been doing it in spots. So that's where it sounds when you solo the drums. I noticed right away the beginning sounds kind of like the swing, the groove is wrong. It's okay here. Maybe that's okay. It's not what I expected when I soloed it. See what it sounds like with the rest of the track playing. Actually, it gives it a lot of pep where it is. Swing is an elusive thing. It's like there's no math to it that makes it make any sense. It's definitely a feel thing, and so like when you're in the computer doing it, it's not a natural process to get things to really swing the way you want. It takes some tweaking and a little bit of like listening and studying what drummers really do. All right, I'm going to listen through a little more and see what I can fix in here. Okay, there's some things. I really want the vibes to match the flute a lot, and I just heard a passage where I had changed the flute and I didn't change the vibes. I wish I remembered how to play this. It would be helpful. Let's see what the melody looks like in the flute. See if I can match that in the vibes. All right, I think I could get this. What's going on here? How come I don't hear a click or anything? Oh. Gotta assign the click to my earphones. Da, 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 da. Almost. All right. That matches. Let's see if I accidentally erased the next phrase out of the vibes. Looks pretty good. There's a question about that trombone with the mute in it. Does it actually sound like a trombone with a mute in it? Something I need to look into. BT Dubs, it's AMA. If you have anything you want me to look at specifically, ask me anything. Let's see what we can do about that trombone. I don't know if it's how I'm playing it or what the articulations are, the wah-wah to it. Maybe it's really just that sound in that range doesn't sound like a mute on a trombone. Let's get there. Let's see what we can do. Sounds better now. I think I'm opening the wah-wah up too much in the track. I think. Let's see. Let's get right to where it enters. Ah. Oh, maybe it's a range thing. It would sound more real here. Needs more short notes in it, I think. I have it down here now, which I like the idea of. I like the idea of something down there melodically at this point, because nothing's been down there. That's a tough call. I want something down there. I guess I could have the bari sax join it, or just put the bari in there and have it answer the bari. That's an idea. Let's explore that idea. Okay, I'm muting the bone. Let's check out the bari sax, which I have to unfreeze to make this work. Let's see if we can get some action out of this bari sax here. Nothing. What is going on? Oh. This is the swam bari sax, and so like it takes all these sample modeling instruments don't like it if you just open up the instrument and just play notes on a keyboard, because they sound fake when you do that. They don't sound like what they want them to. You know, it's not like... So what they want you to do is use an expression pedal, which I have one below the desk here. And then you get some realism, and they don't... It's amazing. They don't even want you to use the thing wrong. They're like, you can't. They block out the sound. That's why when I first played it, I was getting nothing. Let's see what this sounds like here if I play this on the bari. Okay, that was not the right way to play it, but I think it could work. And let's actually, not that I really need to be mixing this right now, but sometimes I mix as I go, and this needs a little more space around it. It's maybe a bit much. Playing with reverbs. These are convolution reverbs built into live BT dubs that I'm using because I have them. I don't really own anything else. Although I'd really love to get something that's top notch. I think it would make my mixes easier to do if I had some unbelievably good reverb around, like the Altiverb. All right, let's try this out. Okay, that's better. Now let's see what happens with the trombone turn back on, see if they kind of work together. So it could be that the trombone is the answer to the sax, and the sax plays just the first half. Then your trombone answers. So let's get this out. They also could play the last phrase together, like in a harmony kind of deal, which would be classic. But let's see what we can do to fix this trombone right now as an answer. Oh. How come I don't hear the trombone? Oh, it's muted. Just fun to play that thing. That's all I can tell you. Let's see what else. All right, trombone. Oh, I'm just gonna answer, not double it. Take two. I played a lot of notes wrong, but maybe that's good. I think that's going to work, but I need to make some of the notes shorter. I tend to, because I can on a keyboard, tend to make wind instruments have longer notes than what wind players really play. Like in the jazz idiom and the pop idioms, they tend to play notes shorter than what they're written on the page in a way. And also, you know, I'm playing a piano keyboard as I do this, and you know, like if you play the piano, you know that like you can hold a chord, but it gently sort of just fades away on its own. So it doesn't sound too long. But these wind instruments have a, I mean, the player's in control of that. I have to take control of it. Like that last note should be long, but that's too long. That's too short. Gotta end it on the beat. A little longer. Not happy with that. And shorten this one. Yep. Yep. I should play it again. I think I can play it better than I can edit it in. I'm going to play it again. Stand by here. That's what I really want out of it. Let me start rolling a measure earlier so I can get ready. I can do it better. It's better. Needs a little more like swoosh to it, like it needs to be a little less sober. That's a little better, I think. Let me see what's happening in the chat here. All right, Ben Chef. Native Instruments should have a feature where if you hold a note too long, it plays a sample of the wind player passing out in their chair or chewing you out about it. I like this. This is an excellent suggestion, really. And it's really easy to program. There's enough other shit. I mean, some of these samples, you play a note and like you hear the chair squeaking or somebody dropping a mute or whatever. Like they're not always that clean. This is actually, believe it or not, that's not even a sample. This is from Swam. Where is it? Stand by and I'll try to get the plug-in window in the front. Well, it's from the company that developed it before Swam owned it. So who knows what the hell they were called. But it's called The Trombone, version 3. It's not samples. It's modeled. It's some amount of sampling, like some short samples that are like a few milliseconds long. It takes nothing to load it. It loads like instantly. You can't even actually, in their new programming of it, it comes in its own It doesn't work in native instruments. It comes in its own interface. Actually, I have the sax in there from the same bundle of instruments. Let me get the sax up so you can see what they're doing now. Barry sax. So here's their new interface. They have their own plugin. And you can't even, when you install it, you can't specify like a directory for the samples because it hardly hasn't. It's pointless. So it just puts them somewhere like in the program or in the system disk somewhere. There's nothing to it. So it's like very lean on hard drive demand for storage and for streaming it off. It's nothing, but the scripting is like so intense to model that. Needless to say, it's out of control for that. It kills your processor if you don't got it. Let's see what Jared Simmons is saying here. Yeah, cool, man. I am excited that you're here too and observing the process. It's a quiet day. I don't usually do this in the middle of the day, but I leave these up, by the way, if you want to share them later with anyone who you think might be interested in what I'm doing today. You can certainly find it at YouTube/Peter Buffano. Right, what the hell is going on here with this? Well, let's see how this answer thing came out. Yeah, so I think what I was saying before is like it needs to be less sober. So we can get it to be a little pitchy. Well, okay, since it's modeled, we can just tell it to screw up the performance a little. Sometimes that works out okay to my satisfaction. Why am I getting this? I want the other plugin window. Here it is. 9 million pages of controls, but let's see if we can find these. Transition flutter is something that happens when players switch notes. It's a little sloppier, so let's take that up a couple notches. Oh, other instrument, hang on. There's like a when it switches notes. Something players do when they're not achieving total perfection. Let's see what else. Pitch fluctuation. Let's turn that up a little bit. Random detune. Let's turn that up a little tiny bit. Dynamics to pitch. Well, I thought that's what pitch fluctuation was, but let's turn that up a tiny bit. I wonder if that hint of vibrato is from the thing called pitch fluctuation. Like, what if I turn that off? No, that's there. There's kind of a little bit of built-in vibrato in this sound. It's like, I actually thought I was doing all of it here on the mod wheel. It actually goes up to a shake vibrato at the top of the mod wheel. Just really something. From a modeling standpoint, that is like... That's cool. Really cool. So I don't know what the hell pitch fluctuation is doing, but I turned it up a little. Maybe I'll notice it later. Maybe it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. Okay. So that's something I can do to like humanize this sound here. And another thing I can do is actually just use pitch bend a little tiny bit on that that note. Because it sounds like a note by some instinct I have that the player would kind of slide into a little tiny bit. Just a little tiny bit. I can draw in like a little pitch bend into it on my screen. Scoop into it a little. Maybe a little bit here, not as much as the first time. Let's put a little bit in the beginning of this note. I can get really fussy sometimes about like getting into small details. On a deadline, trying to crank out something like on a gig, I don't always have time to do this. And sometimes I don't have time to do it and I do it anyways and I get into trouble. The time not to do it is when this is just a demo and there's going to be a live player. That's when like definitely don't do it. But I don't know. I don't like directors to hear stuff that sounds shitty. I don't dig it. I feel like it affects the relationship in some way. All right. Let me hear this whole passage. Just for a minute there, it sounded like somebody playing. For a second. I mean, I know it's not real. I know it's not ever fooling anyone, but it sounds like there's a human being involved for a second there. Ironically about that, though, like the things I just did to make it sound like a human being was involved didn't involve me playing it. It involved me drawing some triangles on the screen. So, oh well. Oh well. Okay, maybe there's something to be done on this Barry part to give it a little life. See that bar, bar, bar could slap a little bit. The higher note. So the question is there a key switch that makes it slap? Hell if I know. No, I'm not in the key switch range here. Fuck are the keys? Maybe there are no key switches in this. I use so many different libraries, TBH, that like I'm relearning them every time I use them. Okay, there are some key switches here. What does this key switch do? Oh, it says fall down. That's not modeled very well. That's too perfect. That doesn't... I'm not going to use it anyways, but... So what's this second one? What's this third one? Oh, third one's nice. It has some, like, harmonic imperfection. Here at the beginning of the note, there's a squeak. Here's without it. Here's with it. That's kind of cool. What's this do? Oh, overblow. Try it without it. It's not that different. Oh, there you go. Okay, that's pretty cool. Like, be able to blow harmonics on it is a pretty awesome feature that I should actually work into this passage if it makes any kind of sense. Jared, yeah, I'd like to say I know samples pretty well, but that sounds pretty good to me. I know, it's pretty damn good. I mean, the thing about it is there are getting to be quite a number of samples that are not strictly orchestral samples. Orchestral samples at this point are easy to do realistically. Where we are, like, partially in technology, but also just in what we know, like what kind of programming to do on the response. Um, Jazz is a different story. Jazz, rock, basically like solo instruments as opposed to sectional instruments are really hard to program, really hard to use, and most people, most composers will not. They'll just stay away from them. And I think it has slowed down the development of the technology, and it's slowed down the development of people using them and people learning how to use them, because it's just, there's a curve there. For one thing, you have to totally know the sound of the instrument. You have to spend time in a band around that instrument in order to imitate it. It's not straightforward in any way. There's tons of nuance in it that has to do with the song, the key, the individual player's personality. And it's like, these are things that I just know from listening to someone. And like usually when I'm doing a project like this, I'm listening to one player and imitating them so that it has some characteristics that don't just come out of the keys when you push a key down. Okay, like for example, man, I love that overblowing thing. Let me get the overblowing thing off, though. It's kind of a lot right now. I'm swelling the third note. Because I know a sax player named Sammy Lett who does that. Like he leads into a note. Leads into a short note in some way. What else? Oh, yeah, okay, like I know a lot of sax players who fall from a high note to a low note sometimes. Like, might be, or maybe that's an awkward place. Yeah, like that. A little vibrato at the end. So I'll do that like fall, like I'm connecting the notes with a chromatic passage. Maybe slide in on it like a little bit. And another way, this is modeled so well that I can actually not play that chromatic passage. I can just lightly play the lower note. Maybe with the sustain pedal down. I know it can do it on the trombone. It's not happening on this thing so much. Let's do it on the trombone. Let's see if we can get that happening. So on the trombone, I can just play the second note. And if I play the second note a little harder, it's connected but fast. Try to medium. So that's pretty cool. That's ways to get personality happening throughout. I mean, you have to do it in a really, it's a lot of detail, you know. To be fair, I know there are some saxes out there, Native Instruments, VSL, and 8Dio have them, but they're completely sampled. Yeah, and there's some cool stuff about completely sampled saxes where like the middle, well, because you hold a note and it has life in the middle of the note. The ones that have that, like there's a shape to it and some vibrato that comes in later. But the problem, I think, with that is that the shape may not match rhythmically to your song, like phrasing wise, tempo wise, and the vibrato is not customizable because there's all kinds of vibrato. So yeah, and nothing sounds as good to me as the sampled ones either. I think you get a real distinct different approach kind of philosophically between the samples and the models. The models give you total control. But the sort of acoustics of it, um, let's pull up the sax again. The acoustics of it are not convincing. Like, let me kill the reverb that I have in there and just hear what it is. Where is that? Returns. I'll mute all my returns. It starts to sound like a toy, first of all, unless you can really shape with like multi-stage reverb and get a complex room built around it. That's one thing you just have to do with the models. The models also, if you don't take control over every possible control there is, like dynamics and the wah-wah of it and the pitch of it, how the, like what the harmonics are, like even like on saxes you can control how it's fingered, and if you don't like make some conscious decisions about it, it just, every note kind of sounds the same, which sax players actually can't do. And we sort of effectively know they can't do it, whether or not that's how we think of it, you know, but we know when it's not happening. Modeled instruments work with jazz and pop. Yeah. The modeled strings, I know. Well, there's not as good of a case for the modeled strings. I totally agree with this, because the complexity of the acoustic thing, that they're like in sections that they phase with each other in a way that is like so nuanced and random. Just a sample gets that, and a model, like, it's a lot to figure out in a model. I think that another thing you have going on is that, like, in the orchestra VSLs, you have, sorry, VSIs, you have sections of things and groupings of things. You know, like violins 1 is 20 players. It's not a single trombone. And so no one's individual personality comes out of that sound. It's just got to like be that sound and be playable. So I think that like the orchestra ones are easier because you don't have all of that nuance to it. Like a big section of strings playing a note is a big section of strings playing a note. And of course, like, we use articulations to shape it, and we have short notes that are different samples, and we have notes that use different parts of the bow and different parts of the string. Those are different samples, but we can like quickly change through them. And so that's all figured out. The orchestra is actually easy to sample now at this point. It requires like a lot of manpower and still a certain amount of programming, but it works. I mean, there's so much good orchestra samples out there. So many, many, many good ones. You just named a bunch of the companies that do good ones. I have the Spitfire ones, and they're like, it's unbelievable how useful they are, and not hard to use to get a sound. If you're writing music that is idiomatic, that is, that an orchestra would play, they just sound right. You don't have to do much. Yeah, it's an interesting subject to me a lot. I sometimes get caught up in talking about it too much, I feel, because none of this is about music. This is about like tools to make music. But it's fun. You know, I've always been a little bit of a tech nerd, so. All right, what the hell else were we doing? We were looking at a way to personalize the saxophone a little bit. So there's nothing in there that I would put the overblown sound on, because I would do that on higher range notes that are climactic as an expression. But that first long note, ba, should have something in it, like a little vibrato or something. It's very one-dimensional the way it is here. So let's draw in a little bit. The way that the SWAM libraries are built, the mod wheel is mapped to your vibrato. So let's just draw a little in here. I usually give the vibrato like kind of around like halfway through a note, have it like get to where you hear it. Maybe. I'm not so sure. That sounds awesome. What if I cranked it up and was a lot of vibrato? What would that sound like? It's interesting. You know what it is? It's faster vibrato than a player would play in this tempo of a song. That's what's weird about it. Yeah, you just never do it that fast. So let's find in the Swam tools, where is vibrato speed? There's so many things. Harmonic structure, flutter tongue, growl. There's so many things. But there's got to be a way to control the speed of the vibrato. Is there another page of tools? Somewhere? How does this work? Oh, down here at the bottom, options. Hello. Oh, there's so many things you could adjust in here. Vibrato rate. Here's a little slower. That's what I wanted. Okay. Okay, having seen that, we can maybe find another spot in this track to add a little. I don't know. This note might be too short that it would be involved, but I think I have to hear it to know for sure. Let's just crank it in there and see what it sounds like. Oh yeah, that totally works there, better than in the first spot. Yeah, the low notes don't vibrato as well because in reality they don't. And there's a lot more control and kind of lyricism to the vibrato in the higher range, the middle and the higher range. So that's a very realistic model factor thinger. Okay, that was a lot. Let me go back to the beginning of the song and see if there's anything else I want to tackle today on this. I'm kind of running out of time pretty soon, but whatever. All right. I like that. I like how the changes I made today worked out. It's moved a notch forward. There's some stuff that I did yesterday that I don't love now. In the flute. Let me see something. The flute. Oh, hi, Mike Brown. I just saw that you popped in. Good to see you. For one thing, there's like a little rhythmic glitch. It's happening somewhere there. The flute seems to like cut in a weird way. Why? Oh. It's like a little tail end of a note, a leftover take thing, and like a little sloppy thing. It still feels like there's like a delay of some sort. Oh, I know what it is. There's a pickup note to that flute that's supposed to be there. Sheesh. Okay. I gotta fix it. It's gonna make me crazy. Well, that's a saxophone, not a flute. That's also a swan modeled flute. See, there's something about this whole passage I'm not in love with. That rhythm, ba-ba-ba-dup, ba-da-ba-dup. I thought it would bring a lot of life to it, but it used to be ba-ba-ba-dup, ba-da-ba-dup. It just didn't sound alive. I don't know. Maybe it's one and the other. No. That might work. The answer is different. Let's do this. Is that what I just wanted to do? Ba-ba-ba-dup, ba-da-ba-dup, or ba-ba-ba-dup, ba-da-ba-dup. Yeah. Cool. And I have to get the vibes to match now, too, if I'm going to do that. Everything's got to match. Yeah, Roger Whittlesey. We're thinking the same thing. That's what I just did. Great. Yeah, you make the answer different. See? Great minds think alike. That's what I'm talking about. I got some of the best musicians I know right now in this chat. Because Mike Brown's in here. All of you guys. You know? Let's fix the vibes. So that the vibes are matching the flute now. And this passage. There's probably a lot of places I should fix this. Let me see. I won't do them all today, but... What vibes is this? I have a few different ones I use. This is not the one I usually use for jazzy things. This is the one in Spitfire. It's actually like has tons of organic realism to it. I mean, it's in a space. There's no reverb added to it. It's just a lot of mics on it, basically. Um, and I love that about it. And I think that works in a song like this a lot because I'm trying to get a natural sound out of an unnatural situation. So the more actual, like, organic space that is in there really helps. Great to have you here, Raj, too. Thanks. Thanks. Okay, let's fix the vibes. Did it. Let's try that. Okay, that worked out pretty good that time. That's a good fix. Oh, Mike Brown, more velocity on the top of the phrase. Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Let me listen to this. It's kind of buried in all the doublings. Let me solo it for a second. See, does this sample give me a lot of feedback on it? See, it's an orchestral one. That's what sucks about this sample is that if I nail it, it's not really, there's not like a bright explosion of sound at the beginning. It still sounds kind of mellow. I have a different one. I wonder if I should try it. It might be a big undertaking. It'd be cool to compare. Let's duplicate this track. And then swap out for different vibes. Different vibraphone. Let's see. I have something called mallets. It's just called mallets. I don't know. I think it's from 8DO. And it's not amazing, but I do use it a lot because I think it fits in mixes okay. It's funny that it's a bunch of different mallet instruments all in one thing called mallets. It has marimba, xylophone, Glock. Oh, there is no vibes in this. Well, that's not going to be useful. We could try some of the other sounds in it. I wonder what's the other vibes I was using. I must have another one somewhere. I know I do. I haven't been using that Spitfire thing for forever. The Spitfire thing just adds a lot of like acoustic life to a thing because of the miking. Oh, that's the other track. How come I can't even hear this? Why would that? Oh, because solos. This is the marimba. And it does have that thing that Mike Brown was looking for, which is like a response. Like you hear the like harmonics pop when you nail it. See what the xylophone sounds like in here. And they have a cool thing. Switch the mallets to rubber mallets. It's built into the interface here. You can just switch from, that's the rubber mallet. This is the wood. What about, what's happening with the Glock in here? Let's see if we can get this to happen. I have to hold the pedal down to get them to be open sounds. It's a nice sample. It's nice that it mutes it, actually. When the pedal's up, it's as if the player hit it and then damped it with their hand. Which is something you do, you know. That's a very useful sample. It's very present in a way you wouldn't use in an orchestral type setting, but like in a little circus band setting for that kind of a demo, it's right on. What about the tubular bells? As long as we're just playing with sounds here. Hopefully this is not as boring as I would think it is. Tubular bells. I guess that's very realistic in the sense that it's inconsistent. I think that's the resin mallet, and I think down here, that's the softer mallet. Weird. It's like a soft wooden mallet or something, or a rubber mallet. Interesting. Cool. But probably none of it useful in the context of this kind of big band sound I'm doing. A cymbalom. I have... Well, that's a totally... Yeah. Okay. Let me see what I have for a cymbalom. There's some new cymbaloms coming out. Like, who just put one out? I think Spitfire put out a free one, I think. Or something. Somebody... I've been seeing ads pop up a lot for cymbalom lately. Why not? We're just messing around. Let's mess around. Get back to this track I was using and look for a cymbalom. I might have one from like Spitfire's free things. Spitfire has what they call labs. It's the freebies. Oh, somebody just said one. Yeah, Spitfire just released one. And if it's from Spitfire, it's probably like costs more than your house, but can't resist anyways, so. Okay, yeah, here's a bunch of Spitfire lab. Okay, well, they have, the closest thing I have is Spitfire's free labs dulcimer. I think that's the closest thing I have. It's not something I use all the time. See if we get some sound out of this thing. Well, that sounds like that tubular bell I had going. Why? Why would that happen? Oh, did I just totally... Yeah, I just switched the wrong track. Okay, well, who cares? I'll deal with that in a minute. Yeah, that's fun. Um, it's a free one too. This one just has every note rings out to the end of the note, which is typical of Cymbalom. And that's not specifically this particular instrument is not specifically a kind of a Balkan cymbal, not a Balkan hammered dulcimer. I think it's more like a I don't know what you call them. I don't know where they're from. The more I guess they're like Western European ones and Eastern European ones alternatively, and this one's probably a Western European one. Raj says it's not as percussive as a cymbalom. There we go. Okay, I'll take your word for it. Now what I have to do is fix the freaking vibraphone that I deleted by accident when I was tinkering. So let's see. Let's get rid of some things. Let's get rid of the track I'm not using anymore. Clean that up. Let's find the xylophone the vibraphone I was using. Or if you remember what Al Whitney used to call them, he called them exophones. Yeah, so this vibraphone is the Joby Burgess thing from Spitfire. Tuned vibraphone. It'll take like a month to load up because the amount of samples the Spitfire puts in. Oh, I loaded it kind of wrong. It's fixable. Let's try this. Sheesh. I had a nice setting in there dialed in. I'm going to have to fix. I had used a little bit of the close mic and a little bit of the tree mics. This is so cool that like on these Spitfire things, they give you, if you look, they give you, well, it's just like the way you would record it in the studio where you wouldn't just put one mic or one set of mics. You'd record it like over 6 channels, like a pair of close mics, a pair of tree mics, and then like a pair of room mics. And you could just mix the channels to get the amount of like depth and articulation that you want in space. And so they've done that. Like every one of these samples is playing back like minimum 6 tracks. And if I switch this to, there we go. I got the long notes. Okay. What the hell was I doing? I was getting the vibraphone to double the flute properly. And we were noticing, Mike Brown was pointing out that like there's problems with the amount of dynamics, like it needs more velocity. Better feels weird, but I guess I'll work on it. I'll tell you what I need to do for real is get this really good player named Bill Leary to play the flute for it. Yeah. Let me see what else people are saying. Oh yeah, Mike Brown, I love you too. It's so great to see you. Putting together a DJing demo. That's awesome. Cool. All right. You guys are all awesome. I think we're good. I think this is an all in a day's work kind of a situation right now. I think that I do have to move on. I have some other things on the schedule. I have to do some like lesson planning for a class I'm teaching Monday on music technology. So I want to come prepared. So I'm going to move on. As always, it's great to see your faces, even if I can't see them. And we'll talk again soon. I'll be doing more streams. All right. Peace out, sauerkraut.